You are we on?
Uh, yes, we are, but we are just waiting for Ria's signal. All right, perfect. We are good to go. Hi, everyone who is tuned in with us. We are live for our BFSM Ultimate Power Up campaign, and we are so happy to have one of the most energetic entrepreneurs that I have encountered, and one of those who is actually making ripples in the food and beverage industry with his protein bar chocolates that are being marketed in a way I am fascinated with. So it is absolutely my pleasure. So thank you, Ria, and thank you, everybody, for giving me the chance to interview Jake Karls from Midday Squares. Welcome again officially. How are you feeling apart from being exhausted?
Oh, I'm completely exhausted. I just got back from a milk run. I like to say I call them milk runs because they're intense travel where I show up to in person, thank God, to a lot of meetings with investors, retailers, buyers, journalists, and I just give them energy. I think I did like 6 speaking gigs in the last like 7 days. It's kind of like a political rally if you think about it. And yeah, I just got home an hour ago on a red-eye flight. So I'm still fired up. I'm pumped to be here, and I'm excited to get in the nitty gritty and the dirty details of how we build our business and stuff. But yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It means a
Thank
lot.
you, Jake. But before we get down to the nitty-gritties of BFSM, I would like to understand what is the secret to your energy? Is it something that you're mixing in your drink? Is it something that you is motivating you, fueling you? What is it? I'd love to know about that.
Two things: caffeine. I'm sponsored by caffeine all day. Caffeine, it's just injected in me. No, I'm kidding. I do a lot of coffee, but I think humans are the reason I get energy. It's like when I'm with people, I get the ability, and I think everyone has the ability to make someone feel something inside. And if I get to do that, that's what gives me this fuel to keep going and go crazier and wilder and more energetic. Because humans give me that. And, during the pandemic, it was extremely hard because I wasn't getting that human connection. Now I'm back on that trail, which is super exciting. But yeah, that's what fuels me every single day is having the capabilities to make someone feel something deeply inside and continue to be unapologetically myself every day.
And what would you consider your aha moment? Why would you bring in your energy that is so unique to, Midday Squares? How did you join hands with your sister and your brother-in-law? Tell us about that.
So my sister, my brother-in-law had this product, this chocolate bar called Midday Squares. It didn't have a name at the time, but they had this product that was ready to go. They were developing it for quite a long time. And they basically approached me and they said, we need a third partner that's going to blow up the brand, make the noise, build the community. And I was just like, yeah, that sounds exciting, but the food space is typically, in my opinion, archaic in terms of the grocery store. You go there and the brands, not a lot of brands have an emotional connection with the brand itself. They feel like they're buying the product because of function or commodity. And that bothered me. So what I said was, I'm happy to join this team as the third founder. But the kicker was, I said, we are going to make the consumer feel like they're buying from humans, like they're buying that they want to buy something that's not just because the product's great, but because they feel attached and part of the brand. And what I said to them was, we are going to create a reality show on entrepreneurship. We're going to show the good, the bad, the ugly of how we build this business. And that means showing the milestones, the successes, the failures, the therapies, the breakdowns, everything that you never see about a business. My goal was to show that and basically allow the customer to come on this journey with us, making them a fan rather than just a customer. And till this day, we still do it 4 years later.
In terms of emotional storytelling, Jake, let me tell you that your LinkedIn is an inspiration and you are ticking off the boxes with the lows and the highs and everything in between. Because what I got to know is not only are you celebrating a 10 million, square being sold off, but there's so much more. The target achievement, your lows that you experienced during the pandemic, so much more. So yes, the reality show point hits. And That is superb to know that there's a grain of emotional and truth in your brand storytelling. And that brings me to the second question of what are your biggest moments of achievements that you have experienced as the chief rainmaker with Midday Squares? Your biggest wow, your biggest low, and the moment that you just had to, make it through. Those three moments, defining moments.
I think the biggest moment was three things, three crucial moments. Number one was when we started August 4th, 2018. My sister, my brother-in-law approached me before we actually got the business going. And they said, we are going to have to see a business therapist, a business coach, whatever you want to call it, once a week, mandatory in good or bad times. And at the moment, I was like, why the hell do I need that? I'm a happy person. I don't need therapy. I don't need all this stuff. And well, they said, well, we can't do this partnership unless you commit to that. And I thought that was the weirdest thing, but I gave it a shot. I gave the first 5 sessions a shot, and I ended up falling so in love with what therapy can do and how it can make you a better person, a better leader, a better communicator. And now I go once a week minimum with my partner, sometimes alone. And that was a crucial moment in terms of a moment that has driven success and has gotten me through really tough times. I think the toughest moment I went through was during the pandemic. And I was winning, like we were getting written up in some articles and some stuff. We were getting some noise. And I went down this dangerous path with which entrepreneurs tend to go down. And it's called the yard sticking path, where you start to compare yourself to everybody around you. Oh, this person got that award. That company got this article. This company got that retailer. And I started to not be happy for all those folks, which is the weirdest thing because I'm the most happy person for people's success or milestones or experiences. And I was basically in this game in my head where I was like, why am I not getting it? Why me? And I was giving this narcissistic behavior, which was horrible. And I went through like a 6-month experience where I couldn't even perform. I had no motivation, no inspiration, because all I cared about was getting things, the next big thing, the next award, the next article, the next money raise. And that damaged me for quite a while. And then I worked with my therapist to get out of that. And that took a lot of mental work. And now I don't do that yard sticking. I don't compare myself. I'm on my own game, and I'm on my game. Our game is to make the best experience for our fans and deliver the best product. That's all. And I cheer on everyone that wins those certain things in life. And that made me happier, more fired up. I think the biggest milestone was 2 things. Number one, building out a manufacturing plant when everyone told us we couldn't do it. So we fully automated a chocolate factory that could support up to 70 million in revenue in Montreal when everyone said it was impossible. Every expert, every government official that we dealt with, every bank. So that was really fun. And number 2 was just opening up nationwide across Target. Target was a dream retailer of growing up. And yeah, that was a big moment. 1,700 stores right off the bat. It just landed this week in the store, so you can go get the product there if you want in the fridge. But that was a massive turning point in our experience at Midday Squares, because that puts us in the biggest competitive arena one of the biggest competitive arenas in North America in terms of retail.
Right. Perfect. And that brings me now from Target to understanding your growth channels. I'd like to know what have been your major growth channels for Midday Squares. Has it been your offline store? Has it been Amazon so far? Or has it been any other, retail marketplace?
So we are 20% D2C through Amazon on our own website, and then 80% via retail, physical retail like Target, Whole Foods, Sobeys, Metro, Sprouts, Wegmans, all these stores. So we're really focused on the physical retail because of outbound freight is extremely expensive to ship chocolate, refrigerated chocolate. So we focus on using the retailers as like DC centers in different cities, right? And that's been a big power play for us. We have the online store just for people that are loyal customers that come back and want bulk or want different items, so that's just there for the sake of being there. But otherwise, we're honing down on physical retail.
Perfect. And now that I'm understanding it right, Jake, you are in the midst of fast scaling, correct? Now, if you're scaling your brand, how would you select your growth channels now? Now, what's the viewpoint? How would these growth channels change as you're scaling up beyond Target and beyond physical stores?
So before scaling this, in terms of our, we were about a 70% when we started, 70% D2C, 30% retail. Then as we scaled, we went to 50-50 last year, and now we're 80-20. So that's at scale where we want to be, is the 80% physical retail, 20% D2C. Amazon's phenomenal, but we're not on Prime yet because of shipping. So that takes a toll on us. And then our own websites on Shopify, we do extremely well in there, a lot of traffic. But again, shipping, the unit economics right now doesn't really make sense, because shipping to, let's say, California, the prices have gone up to $56 a package, which just doesn't make sense. So, where we've optimized so far is Montreal and Toronto, where we're from. And we've gotten the shipping to like $8 to $10 max. But again, until we can get all our prices to that similar range of 8 to 15, it doesn't really make sense for us, because we can make more margin in the end on the physical retail. And it could be better actually for the consumer, because they don't have to do this whole, they don't have to deal with potentially melted bars. There's a lot of differences.
Understood. And how are the preparation for the holiday sales coming through? What's happening at Midday Squares? What's exciting? What's brewing apart from celebrating your recent achievements?
So yeah, I would love to say something more interesting, but because of all the outbound freight costs, we actually have nothing at the moment till we fix potentially anything for holiday other than physical retail stuff. Because last year when we did when we did promotions for the holidays, we flew the stores. I think we sold like 100,000+ just in one day, and online. And I think that the problem with that is it would burn money in the company tremendously because of the shipping. So until we have that solved, we can't really do anything interesting, because it just hurts the business way more in the end. It burns more money than necessary. And again, being in a CPG brand, especially when you self-manufacture, it's very capital intensive. So you got to be very careful with your burn rates and what you're burning and how you're spending, because cash is king. And I think that you need to play it strategically. So that's what we're kind of doing right now.
So what are the lessons that you learned? I'm assuming that you're taking it slow this year, correct? You're taking it slow, and you're not, rushing into the madness that BFSM, brings with it. So what was it last year? How was the preparation happening last year? Any learnings that you have implemented, in your everyday work routine?
I think that for any holiday experience, if you have a good product, which you should be creating a great product in this world, that's standard, a product market fit, and you have a great brand, I can almost guarantee that if you do something fun for your customers and your fans, it will fly high. For us, we have a very strong community through our social media channels, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. And those crews, an email list, on our email list is extremely powerful. When you update them with something fun, that's unique, that's rewarding to them, they'll reward you tremendously on these experiences. So I think that in order to win on these holiday stuff, unless you're a commodity and you're going to the lowest price point possible, you need to build community. Build that community. And when you do these big things, it's going to drive revenue right out like a rocket ship. So that's our lessons, is build community, tell a good story, and make it not just about a discount, but about something fun.
Perfect. That makes sense. And that is actually bringing me to my next question, which is what is your BFSM campaign checklist like? Apart from creating brand value with your product offering, what are the other essentials, to-dos that an e-commerce brand must keep in mind in your
you definitely have to have your product prepared in terms of the stock. So don't not, if you don't have stock and you're shipping out 3 weeks later, it hurts you even more. It's not even worth the sale. I think that having the stock in stock is super important. I think coming at it with fun is so much better than just a standardized discount, because everyone does that. So that, set yourself apart, do something that will engage the consumer to, again, lean more into your brand, not just the product because the sake it's a discount. You want them long-term. You don't want the one-time customer, right? And then number 3 is just create a great product. Like make sure there's product market fit there. Don't just launch something for the sake of launching something. That's the checklist. If you have those 3 things, I can assure you that you will sell a lot of product, even when it's a crowded discount day and all that stuff. If your brand is strong, people love who you are and are driven by your community and your product market fit, they will want to purchase your products in the bulk on that day.
Absolutely. And do you agree with this opinion that the consumer behavior is changing nowadays? Now, consumers are not really buying into your discounts and not buying into loyalty programs as much as they were doing before. So, how is it affecting purchasing power, Jake? What's your understanding of it?
I think there's definitely an effect, like people don't just want discounts, they want more. They want to be associated with brands. So again, it comes back to building a community. If you build a community that customers are fans of yours, they're going to support no matter what it is. It could be the smallest discount, but they're going to support because they believe in it. They're part of it. And I think that most brands need to get that authentic self in their brands because they're missing it. And that's just going to hurt them over the next decade, in my opinion.
All right. And can you tell me, Jake, what kind of campaigns should brands run to drive more sales and win customer trust, in this rising CAC environment and everything else? How would you ensure, that we have the best campaign out there that drives in the sales?
Phenomenal storytelling with a call to action. That's it. That's all you need.
How would you do that? Let's get into the actionable hack. How would we put that into practice?
Well, the simple question is, what emotion do you want to evoke in your consumer, and then go from there. So if you want to make them happy, make it happy. Make it maybe a dancing video celebrating the discounts and all that stuff. If you want to make them feel, empathy, talk about all the hardships that you're going through as a company, where you make the consumer feel what you're going through, and they want to, again, support, right? So that's number one. Number two is the call to action needs to be clear. Do not use like so many languages that like are complex in terms of like, grammar and all that stuff. Make it as dummy proof as possible and to the point. Make sure your call to action is not hidden. So I would start it with storytelling in terms of the emotion you want to evoke, and then have a call to action at the end of it, which tends to lead to a purchase or sharing something or any of that sort. So it's simple. It's not complex, but don't follow the typical standard playbook, because that stuff it's getting saturated and it's not working as much as it was, 15 years ago or 10 years ago.
And as a chief rainmaker, Jake, how are you keeping your community engaged through and through? Your community is one of those which is very active. That's what your social media channels showcase. So what are the exercises that can be done by upcoming brands as well in the F&B space to keep them engaged with BFCM or without it throughout the year?
I think the simple answer to that is know what's your authentic story and share that consistently every day. And like for us, it's sharing the journey of how we're building this business, the road to 100 million, the good, the bad, the ugly. And every day we do that. We aim towards that. So it's authentic, right? It's not cringe. It's real. It's something that they want to be part of, but somebody else might be all about sports, right? So that story needs to be driven about sports and the authenticity of that. Some story might be about mental health. That needs to be driven down. But don't tell a story for the sake of telling a story or make content for the sake of making content. Do what's authentic to you, and don't yardstick and try to be Midday Squares or try to be Supreme or try to be Nike. Everyone's different. Every brand has its own authentic personality and story. You just need to identify yours and then lean in as much as possible every single day to that.
How much time did it take for you to arrive at the bold, out there, communication storytelling that Midday Squares is known for? How much time did you give to data and experimentation and then arrive that this is working for us and we're going to roll with it?
Definitely data. Like, when I started, I saw that, Keeping Up with the Kardashians TV ratings were really high. So that people like the drama aspect of family there. And then I saw the Shark Tank ratings, and that was really high because people were starting to celebritize entrepreneurs, similar to what chefs were getting celebritized in like 2005. And then I looked at Elon Musk's social media following, and I looked at why it was growing, and it's because he was very bold and outspoken. And as a founder, so he didn't look like a typical executive, right? And then I just said, why don't we do a baby of all three of these? We're a family business, we're entrepreneurs, and we're bold. So that's what the data was driven through there. And then we experimented over the last 4 years and saw that what works, what doesn't work. And then we just stayed true to who we are. And every single day, that's how we drive our content and our community.
Perfect, Jake. Thank you. Thank you for even allowing me to understand this, because I'm also in trying to build in the community. So thank you for that. Now, circling back to BFCM again, I wanted to ask you, is there something that brands should not do while they are preparing their checklist? What are the absolute don'ts that in your experience have not worked out?
What has not worked out? Many things. We're manufacturing, we're doing all kinds of hard things that were impossible, and every single day we need to win on margin, and we're burning so much capital. I think that's been the hardest thing, is how do you balance that? And we don't have the budgets like Hershey's does, so it's been extremely difficult to build something that's almost impossible, in my opinion.
That's true. That is true. And is there any lesson in communications that brands shouldn't do? Like, say for instance, bombarding your community with discounts during BFCM. That is one thing that brands shouldn't do in the current age. So is there something on the marketing lines that you would like to share with us, that they shouldn't be doing at all?
They shouldn't be making content for the sake of content. I think the kicker is tell a good story. Storytelling is not a new tactic. It's an old trick in the book. Just become very in love with it and very good at it, and don't just settle for mediocrity. Be great. And it takes time.
Perfect. Now, you have already mentioned one of the challenges that you have undergone when you were growing your business. Any other challenges apart from shipping, number one, apart from the product, development that you have faced and you would like to, speak about? Any challenge so far?
Listen, I think the hardest thing that we did is the shipping is extremely difficult when you have a refrigerated product that's chocolate that melts. So for us, we still don't have a solution to that. We're working with our community right now to figure out where and what we need. But yeah, no, I don't have an answer. I don't, and I'd be willing to find out an answer if anyone has it to help us, because we were doing $400,000 to $500,000 a month in D2C previous, so we just gave that up. So yeah.
All right. Now, one last question from you. A word of advice for any e-commerce brand out there, apart from keeping it authentic, determining their product market fit right, ensuring that the community is engaged authentically with what you offer. What is the other word of wisdom that you would like to share with our community of e-commerce entrepreneurs?
Be yourself every single day. Focus on what makes you great and go all in on that. I always say the entrepreneur that's willing to withstand the most amount of pressure will win, because the journey is just full of pressure and hardships, and you got to try to enjoy it, as it's so hard. It's like I like to say, you eat dog poo, eventually turns into souffle.
Makes sense. Thank you, Jake, for these really heartfelt insights. They are more heartfelt and they are more honest, and like you said, that authenticness, it just speaks through your communications as well. So thank you for keeping it real. Thank you for giving me and Ria and everybody else who's listening a chance to just understand whether we are being real with whatever we are putting out there for the world or not. And that is one of my biggest takeaway from this conversation. So thank you very much for taking our time again. And I hope to connect with you back again soon.
I appreciate you so much for giving us a voice. It means the world. Thank you.
We will be, reaching out to you with our other content that we'll be creating out of this conversation as well, which will be social media posts and blog, and we will share that with you. And hopefully you would like what you're going to see.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for giving us a chance to chat, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right then. And how can our community reach out to you? If someone would be interested, apart from LinkedIn, is there any other mode of channel that can be used for connecting with you?
LinkedIn for sure, at me, Jake Karls, and then follow up Midday Squares on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. We have a blast. So you got to follow that journey.
Perfect.